I made it on YouTube, guys. I've been tagged. Hello everyone, welcome back to J-ROYL. My name is James, and this is an extra special video. I have recently been tagged by Timmy from Imagine Scent. He released a video on 10 fragrance firsts. And although usually my lists are only 5, I'll make an exception in this case because 10 is indeed a denomination of 5, so it works out. Number 1 is my first bottle of fragrance. The one that really sticks in my head, it came in a blue bottle. It kind of looked similar to Davidoff Cool Water, but it was simply called Sexy Boy. And I think it was actually purchased by one of my sisters and then they didn't use it. And because I was so obsessed with their perfumes growing up, I guess it was only natural that I was like, okay, well, I'll just keep this one. Yeah, a little blast from the past. Number 2 is my first designer fragrance. This fragrance was recommended to me by one of my coworkers about 12 years ago, and he told me about the crazy reactions he got wearing this, so I had to get it. It's L'Odyssée pour Homme from Issey Miyake. And the reason I got it is because he said he was at dinner a few nights before with his girlfriend, and the waitress actually said, "Oh my gosh, she smells so good." And it really pissed off his girlfriend. So I thought that was kind of cool. The power of fragrance really motivated me to buy this. The next item on the list is my first niche fragrance. The one that started it all, this snowball of crazy spending. It's a creed, but it's not the creed you'd expect. Original Santal. Original Santal is the first creed that I ever smelt, and it's the first creed that I bought. Back when I was new to fragrance collecting and niche perfumery, I found out about all the best clones of expensive fragrances. And of course, I stumbled upon Mont Blanc Individual. Because I loved Individual so much, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna own the real thing. And that kind of became my trend moving forward. I would replace the clones with the original counterparts. Except for this one. I kept the clone and got rid of the original. See you later, Mont Blanc. The next item is my first notable compliment. And surprise, surprise, it came from La Nuit de l'Homme. I wore this in the summertime once, and I was riding my bicycle down the street. And as I parked my bike, this couple came up to me around the corner, and the woman said, "I just told my boyfriend, whatever you're wearing, why doesn't he smell like that?" So not only was it an unsolicited compliment, she had to take a pedestrian detour to tell me that her boyfriend sucks and I'm awesome, and why isn't he awesome like me? That happened to be the first of many compliments I've gotten with this fragrance. The legends are true. Next up, we have first negative reaction of a fragrance. And I'm really sad to say, it's from Dior Homme Parfum. But I do not blame the fragrance, I totally blame myself. Last winter, I was doing an estimate for a job, and it was roughly 5:30 p.m. when I applied this fragrance because I felt it made me feel more important, more dominating, so I can really close this deal. Little did I know how strong this stuff is. I left the house and proceeded to do the estimate. We were walking around the house. He was showing me what work needed to be done. And he kind of stopped and looked at me with his face. It wasn't necessarily the words he said, but it was the inflection of his voice. I asked him, "Is everything okay?" And he says, "That's quite the sillage you have there." I didn't know how to respond because he clearly was like, "Whoa, that fragrance is really strong, dude." But I guess it speaks to the good performance of this guy. First of all, I was surprised that he knew what a sillage was. Turns out he's a chef, not a fragrance fanatic. Up next, we have the first fragrance video I watched. Surprise, surprise. It was Jeremy Fragrance about 3 years ago, his top 10 most complimented fragrance list. And the one part that really sticks in my mind is his whole spiel on the magic pill. He said there's no magic pill to success, relationships, and all that, but fragrances come pretty close because you can apply it and it can increase your confidence, it can increase your likability. Although I've been dabbling with fragrances for over a decade, Jeremy introduced me to the YouTube fragrance community because of his audience size. A lot of people watched him and the Google algorithms brought me to him. Thank you, Google, thank you. My first fragrance love is actually one that I do not have a bottle of, but I do have an official sample from the house, and that would be Armani Code. Now, if you remember back to my first designer bottle, it was Sei Isimiaki. This was my second. It was recommended by that same guy from work. To him, this fragrance smelled even better than the other one. Armani Code quickly became my formal fragrance. I would use L'Odyssée for casual stuff, and then I would use this one for formal settings. I still think it's an incredible fragrance, although I don't really have room in my collection for it anymore. I do own and use 3 of the flankers pretty regularly, Sport, Ice, and Profumo, for varying temperature differences, I guess you could say. But for formal occasions, I got a lot of niche now that I'd rather wear. Still love you though. My first hate fragrance is a fascinating one. It's Allure Homme Sport by Chanel. I made a video on the summer fragrances that are gonna stay with me for the rest of my life. This is on the list. I absolutely love this fragrance. However, when I was a fragrance newbie, my nose wasn't ready for it. I sprayed it on at the store and took a sniff right after, and I was so turned off by the tanginess, the spice. I thought, who would wear this? It's gross. But that being said, once this started to dry down, I really started to enjoy it. And now I enjoy it from beginning till end, opening till skin scent. It's an incredible fragrance. It showed me 2 things. A, your tastes can change, and B, don't judge a fragrance off of its opening. Let it dry down and experience the fragrance in its entirety. My first blind buy, man oh man, first of many. My first blind buy is Club de Nuit Intense Man by Armaf. And the reason I blind bought this was because I couldn't find Armaf at my local drugstore. I couldn't sample it at a Nordstrom's. I figured it was cheap enough that I'll roll the dice, try it out, and see what everyone's talking about. I was fascinated because this one smelled like the King of Ventus, but it was way cheaper. And it was a great blind buy. I was very happy with it. Unfortunately, it spawned a habit of rolling the dice quite a bit, especially with these guys. These are Armafs. Hashtag no regrets. And finally, my guilty pleasure fragrance from the house of Tom Ford, Sahara Noir. This is a discontinued fragrance. It's one of those unisex fragrances that has been marketed to women mostly. It's a very strong, barnyardy type fragrance that I just can't get enough of. Because of that beautiful incense in there, it reminds me so much of an old Orthodox church. It's an extremely nostalgic fragrance for me because growing up, I did go to an Orthodox church, and the candles, the incense, the old wood. I mean, the church was basically a barn. So all those smells which are in this fragrance, they trigger those really nice childhood memories I had. And although it's a nice fragrance, although it's very nice and it performs really well, it doesn't suit me at all to anyone around me. You would look at me and expect, oh yeah, this guy likes Invictus. But when you smell this on me, it's like, what the heck? Something's amiss. But I'm happy to have it in my collection because YOLO. This is a YOLO fragrance. So that wraps up this video, everyone. I had a lot of fun doing it. It actually brought back a lot of really cool memories in my fragrance journey. Timmy, thank you so much for tagging me. And I guess we should keep this tag going. I am officially tagging A Gentleman's Journey, my boy Chad, and Tyler from TM Sense. If you haven't checked out our video, we did the newest Mugler flanker. It's in the cards up top if you want to check it out. By all means. All of our links to the Facebook group, Snapchat, and Instagram are down below. And if you like what you see, then go ahead and subscribe and like this video. Take care, guys. Peace.